Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Claudia and here is Penelope. Penelope is joining me today for today's video. So today I'm going to be talking about everything trying to conceive, from our journey, from tips and tricks, if you could call them that, and just kind of mine and Dan's experience so far, because it's not easy and it's not been easy. So I want to talk to you about everything, and I have had quite a few questions and quite a few topics that people want to go over as well. So let's get into it. Sorry for hearing background noise. 3 of my cats have decided to come into the living room and disturb me. First topic that I want to talk about is our journey so far, and what's happened, how long we've been trying for, etc. Me and Dan have been trying for a baby for just over a year. I think probably about a year and a couple of months now. So it's been quite a while. Bear in mind, I'm 26, Dan is 30, he's just turned 30, I've just turned 26. You would expect it to happen quite quickly, and they do say that, if it hasn't happened within a year, then to speak to your doctors and stuff. So yeah, that's the situation that we're in at the moment. So in the past year of trying to conceive, we have had 2 miscarriages, unfortunately. They were super early miscarriages, so they happened, one was at 5 weeks and one was at 6 weeks. And then I also had something called an ectopic pregnancy. So for anyone that doesn't know what an ectopic pregnancy is, it's where the embryo implants itself somewhere other than it should be. So sometimes if they can't diagnose an ectopic pregnancy straight away and they can't see anything in the uterus, in the womb, then it's called a pregnancy of unknown location until they figure out where the pregnancy is located. So the common places for embryos to be located in ectopic pregnancy are in your fallopian tube, so that can be anywhere from like the beginning, the middle, or the end of your fallopian tube. And another common area is if you've had a cesarean or if you've had abdominal surgery before, the embryo can then implant into that scar tissue. With my situation, our baby implanted in my fallopian tube, which then resulted in me kind of bleeding in the first few weeks of pregnancy. I then not got sent, but if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know the situation. But basically, I had bleeding on and off. I had some pains, went to the hospital at around 5 weeks pregnant, and they kept on sending me home. Basically, they wouldn't scan me until 6 weeks. At 6 weeks, I went to the hospital, still bleeding, still complaining of this pain, and then they finally decided to admit me to hospital. And in the morning after, I had a scan and it was confirmed that my fallopian tube had ruptured, and they then confirmed that it was an ectopic pregnancy. So I had to have abdominal surgery to remove my fallopian tube and also, get all of the blood out because I was internally bleeding. So yeah, that was the situation with the ectopic pregnancy. So yeah, 2 miscarriages and an ectopic pregnancy. So at the moment, our situation is a little bit more difficult. And they say that your fertility, it doesn't drop down 50% even if you haven't got 2 fallopian tubes. But your fertility obviously won't be the same as if you did have 2 fallopian tubes. So that's the situation we're in at the moment, which isn't great and it's not looking promising, but positive vibes and all that. When I was pregnant with my ectopic pregnancy, I did actually start doing like daily updates. I don't think they were daily, I can't actually remember what they were, but basically I do have some footage from when I was pregnant and kind of like the symptoms and stuff that I had. I can't actually remember, I think I was just really tired. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert these clips, those clips here, so that you can see what I was saying when I was pregnant. I can't fully remember, so you're gonna have to bear with, but I definitely know that there are some things that I spoke about for that early pregnancy, so I'm gonna put them in here. I've done about 4 tests because I'm crazy, and there's a line on all of them. Oh, I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous, I'm so stressed. Okay, so another diary entry from me. I'm shaking. I just got this. I'm literally shaking so bad. I have felt awful all day today, like really, really tired, and that's the reason why. I'm a bit more reassured now, which is good. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it is my 26th birthday, and I'm definitely pregnant. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I've cried about 3 times today so far because I'm just so scared. I called my GP because they told me to call them as soon as I had passed the pregnancy test, and they have said that if I have any bleeding or any cramping, then I'm to call them straight away and go, basically they'll make me go to the early pregnancy unit. But I'm super duper early, so yeah, I'm just so scared. Like, it's really bittersweet because I'm happy, but also I can't be happy because I don't want to get my hopes up. So yeah. Okay, so as of today, I am 4 weeks and 2 days pregnant. I keep on taking pregnancy tests because I'm sure. I'm definitely pregnant because I've got all the symptoms, and I've literally just posted a story now saying how my sleep was just shit. I can't sleep. I keep on waking up. I keep on waking up super early. I need to pee as soon as I wake up. Like, it hurts. And I've started to get morning sickness as well, which is just not great. I am drinking decaf coffee for anyone that will have saw the story from this morning. I'm drinking decaf coffee, and yeah, I've booked a scan for the 28th as well, so fingers crossed, we'll see. So yeah, I've booked a scan for the 28th, so I'll be like 6 weeks and 1 day on the 28th. It's just like a reassurance scan because I need that reassurance. Hopefully we get to that point. And what else? Yeah, I've just been really tired. I keep on waking up at stupid o'clock. To be honest, I'm probably really tired because I keep on waking up at night. I am taking prenatals. I'm not drinking coffee. I'm being really careful with what I'm eating. Dan knows, Dan's parents know, some of my close friends know. I'd rather tell people now than not have anyone to support me if anything does go wrong. Touch wood, fingers crossed it doesn't go wrong. But so yeah, that's where we're at. That is where we're at. To be honest, I'm glad that I've got symptoms, because actually if I didn't have any symptoms, I'd be stressing. I would be stressing way more than I already am. So yeah, the world works in mysterious ways. So yeah. Okay, so today I'm 5 weeks pregnant. I'm so bloated. Let me show you. Oh my god. Like, it's shocking. Can we just appreciate this bloat? Like, what is this? What is going on? I feel really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. I'm drinking loads of water, I'm taking my vitamins, and I'm eating high fibre foods. Just bloated. Everything else, touch wood, is going okay though. I'm super exhausted. I'm really struggling with work, to be honest, because I'm so tired constantly. But I'm getting through. And yeah. 5 weeks, who'd have thought? I look how I feel at the moment, at least anyway, and I doubt it's going to get any better. To be honest, I shouldn't be complaining, because this is the moment that I have been waiting for months. I'm going to talk about, the signs and symptoms that I had from kind of straight after finding out, and even before actually. And then kind of going on to what I've got now and how I'm feeling at the moment. Not great. Not great is how I'm feeling at the moment. So week it would have been about week 3 because that's around when I found out. I didn't actually have any symptoms before I tested. I just had this massive urge to test. It was 2 days before my birthday, so it would have been the 7th of March, 2 days before my birthday. Took a test. It was super duper faint, like it was a shadow. It was a shadow of a line. But me being kind of the serial tester, I wanted to triple check and make sure that I wasn't going crazy. So I went to Boots. I got some first response 6 days early, and then I also got the Boots early tests and Clear Blue Digitals, the weeks indicator ones, because apparently they only need a low amount of hormone to show positive. So here's me with my stash. I came home, took a first response, and there was a faint line on that as well. So I waited till the next day. It was darker. The next day it was darker. I told Dan the day before my birthday. So it was like the day after or 2 days after I found out. Just because I didn't really want to tell him before I was sure. So that's what I did. And yeah, around that time I didn't really have that many symptoms. I think the only symptoms that I did have was like the symptoms that you'd have before a period, like PMS symptoms. And then after I had that positive test, that is when the symptoms kind of started. It was probably around week 4, just kind of around where my period would normally be. I got my first positive at, it was, I'm trying to think now, it was 9 days past, so 8 days past ovulation was kind of like the shadow line. 9 days past ovulation was the actual faint line, so it was super early. It would have been like 3 weeks 1 day, 3 weeks 2 days, and now I am 5 weeks exactly, so a couple of weeks have gone by. And yeah, so symptoms around the time I got a test, didn't really have any. Week 4, just normal PMS symptoms. And then it was probably mid-week 4, I was exhausted. And I mean, exhausted. I could not keep my eyes open. I kept on crying. I was crying at work just because I was so tired. I wanted to nap 2 hours after I'd woken up in the morning. Bearing in mind I don't nap, I hate napping. Oh, I'm gassy now as well. And what else? Sickness in the morning for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but that was it. Never sick, still haven't been sick, touch wood, thankfully. And then just really tender, heavy boobs as well. Like, yeah, feel like they're bruised, and they still do. And kind of since then, they are the main symptoms that I've had. Over the past couple of days, I've had quite a few cramps. Not necessarily just like period cramps either. Oh, my fringe is so annoying. It's very long. I need to go to the hairdressers. Right, there we go. But yeah, the cramps weren't just like period cramps. Over the past couple of days, they've been like pinching cramps and pulling cramps, and I think it's probably all just growing. I think I'm really bloated, so I think I've got maybe quite a bit of gas. So yeah, they're kind of the symptoms that I'm having mainly at the moment. And as I say, I just don't feel great. I feel really sluggish, and I just feel really lazy, and I don't know why. I feel like there's also the case of I'm not drinking caffeine anymore, and I used to live on caffeine, so I'm probably having withdrawal symptoms from that as well, to be honest. The first couple of days after I found out, before I missed my period, I was stressing. I was just saying to myself, and I was saying to Dan, I'm gonna get my period, like I'm gonna get it, but touch wood, thankfully I haven't, and we've made it to 5 weeks. Okay, so yes, I'm sat in a car park. Did my 5-week vlog, and the day after I started spotting, which is not great. So I started spotting on Saturday. Today it's Monday. I carried on spotting on Sunday as well. It's just like it's there, it's not stopping. but it's not super heavy, which is good. I went to urgent care over the weekend because the early pregnancy unit wasn't open. They said that I needed a scan, so referred me to the early pregnancy unit. The early pregnancy unit called me this morning and said that they wouldn't scan me until I'm 6 weeks. So now it's literally just a waiting game for Friday, and I've been crying all morning because I'm so stressed and I'm so anxious, and I just don't know what to think anymore. I think because of the losses we've had in the past, I'm just thinking the absolute worst. I have still got some symptoms. I'm super tired still. My boobs don't hurt as much anymore. I feel sick. I was really sick yesterday, really sick. But I also had a migraine yesterday, and I never get migraines. So there are still some symptoms there, which is good, and I haven't necessarily got like really bad cramps. But it's still scary, like it's so scary just not knowing. So I'm hoping on Friday I can go to the early pregnancy unit and they can scan me and hopefully give me some answers. I hope it's just one of those things where it's just like, oh, it was just implantation bleeding or a breakthrough bleed. I just hope it's not the worst. But yeah, we'll see. We will see. I guess this is a 5-week pregnancy vlog update, but also it could even potentially be my 5-week and last week update, which is horrible to think about, and I hope that that's not the case. So we'll see. So I'm now 5 weeks and 4 days pregnant. Spotting wise, it's slowed down like loads. It's barely there. However, I still haven't had a scan, so like my stress levels are still all over the place. Symptoms wise, I'm still super tired, which is good. I've been feeling really sick in the mornings. Again, I'm just going to take as a good sign. And then I've been having like headaches and yeah, just aches and pains, which I'm guessing is kind of my uterus growing. I don't know, that's what I'm putting it down to. But the fact that I have got those symptoms is reassuring me a little bit. But then I still can't stop thinking about the worst. So I'm going to call the early pregnancy unit tomorrow morning just to kind of let them know that I'm going to be 6 weeks exactly on Friday, just to see if they can do a scan, just kind of reassure me a little bit, because I've had the spotting. And I'm just hoping that they will, because I've been referred there and they said that I need to wait for the 6 weeks and to kind of call them back. So fingers crossed I can go and get a scan. And yeah, I can just be a little bit more reassured. Okay, so a little bit of an update for you all. I have just called the early pregnancy unit this morning because I'm still bleeding. It's day 5. It's just not normal. So I'm obviously stressing. So I called early pregnancy unit. They said that I need another GP referral. So I've just got off the phone to my GP, who was basically a bit fuming because they haven't seen me and I've been bleeding for like a week now. So she's done another referral for me. So now it's just a waiting game of when I can see them. She said that she's hoping that they'll get me in like ASAP, because I've been having some pains, I've been bleeding, it's just not great. So hopefully we can have that scan and we can see if everything's going okay. So yeah, that's our journey so far. But we move on, and things that I am doing at the moment are ovulation tests every single day. And when I'm in like high fertility, I tend to do 2 ovulation tests just so that I don't miss that peak. So I'm going to talk to you about ovulation tests first, just so that we can kind of get we can get it going, and you can see what I do from the beginning of every month to the end of every month. I don't actually do that much. I think I just do the kind of normal stuff, but I know that some people don't actually know what ovulation testing is and don't do it. And also, if you're really new to trying to conceive, you probably don't know the timings of kind of what you need to be doing either. Because I know that when I was trying with Nisa, my daughter, I had no clue. Let's get with it. So at the beginning of every cycle, so cycle day 1 being the first day of your period. So between cycle day 1 and for me, it's usually around cycle day 6, cycle day 7, I don't do anything. I literally just, that is my time out time, the time that I take away from trying to conceive, because obviously beginning of a new cycle day 1, I'm usually really, really sad and upset and heartbroken. So yeah, 7 days I don't do a single thing. And then from kind of cycle day 8 is when I actually do start doing the ovulation tests, and they do tend to be negative, but I wouldn't want to kind of miss my peak, so I do try and do my ovulation test from cycle day 8, and I usually ovulate around cycle day 12 to 14, so those days are really important that I don't miss doing my ovulation tests. And what ovulation tests are these little sticks, kind of like pregnancy tests, and you obviously dip them in your wee. I try and do them in the morning because that's when I remember to do them, but also I find that if I do them as soon as I wake up, my wee is at its highest, like it's really concentrated, so it just tends to be better and I get more accurate results. So I do from cycle day 8 to cycle day probably about 9 or 10, I do just normal dipsticks. And then from cycle day 10 until I get my peak or high fertility, I do dipsticks and I do Clear Blue Digital Advanced, I think they're called, ovulation tests, because they have little smileys on them, and also they detect 2 different hormones. So they detect estrogen, I think it is, and the LH hormone. And that's the thing, the ovulation tests use to detect your surge, which then gives you your peak. I'm sorry if this all sounds really confusing, but basically when you ovulate, your body releases a hormone called the LH hormone. It's got a longer word, but I don't know what the long word is. Yeah, so it's an LH hormone, and when your LH hormone rises, that means that your body is trying to ovulate, and it usually ovulates within 24 to 72 hours after getting a positive ovulation test. So a positive ovulation test on a normal dipstick, so kind of like the cheaper ones, is the control line and the test line needs to be exactly the same colour, or the test line needs to be darker than the control line. So I'm going to put in my data from the app that I use here from my last cycle or a couple of cycles ago, where I tracked my ovulation from really early on in my cycle, and you can also see my peaks and my highs as well. So with the Clear Blue, it just gives you a smiley face. So if you're not in your high fertility, then it will just be a normal circle. It'll be an empty circle. If you are in high fertility, it will give you a flashing smiley face, and if you're at your peak, it will be a static smiley face. So that's how you read the Clear Blue ones. And basically, when you're at your high and your peak is when you need to be trying. I'm just gonna say it like that. That's when you should be trying. And I know that everyone does it differently. There's loads of different methods out there, but I just try not to stress about it, and I just do what I need to do, and that's pretty much it. I try not to put too much pressure on me or Dan, because it's pressure as it is. Alongside ovulation tests, I take vitamins, and the only vitamin that I take, I've had loads of questions about vitamins, and the only vitamin that I actually take is the Pregnant Care Conceptions. I think it's Pregnant Care Before Conception for male and female. So Dan takes them and I take them. I also take iron supplements because I'm anemic after my surgery, so I take iron. I'm not sure if I should be taking iron and the Pregnant Care, but I haven't had any issues so far, so I'm just gonna keep it that way. So yeah, vitamin wise, that is literally all that I use, and that is pretty much it. I do try and be a little bit healthier if I'm kind of really wanting to, utilize the month. But again, I don't put too much stress on myself. I don't put much pressure on myself, because I know that if I do, it just won't happen, because whenever I've really tried, it never has done. But with my 2 miscarriages and the ectopic, literally the ectopic, because that's the one that I can remember, I didn't do anything at all, because a couple of weeks beforehand, me and Dan had COVID, so it was the last thing on our minds, and the 1 month where it was the last thing on our minds is when we felt pregnant. So I definitely, you know, if I could give any advice, it would probably be to try and not put too much pressure on yourself, and try and put it at the back of your mind. I know that that is really, really, really easy to say, because it's never right at the back of my mind. It's, you know, it goes to the back of my mind, but not right at the back of my mind. So yeah, that's probably the bit of advice that I would give. It's not the best advice, but I'm sorry. And then the third thing that I do, and this is TMI, so if you are squeamish, then please just skip this part, because it is a bit TMI. So the third thing that I do is I track my cervical mucus. That word in general is just not nice. But yeah, I track my cervical mucus. So cervical mucus consistencies change. I am not going to go into it all, because there's enough information on Google, so please go over to Google and Google cervical mucus when trying to conceive. But yeah, that is another thing that I do track when trying to conceive, so yeah, go Google it. They are the 3 things that I do when well, yeah, the 3 things that I do, because obviously we're trying to conceive. They're the only 3 things that I do. There is more that I could be doing. So there is BBT, which is basal body temperature tracking, that you can do. So if you are looking for anything else other than the 3 things that I've spoken about, definitely have a look at that on Google. It's basically where your body temperature drops or rises when you're ovulating or when you've fallen pregnant. So yeah, definitely have a look into that if you're interested in something like that. That is a lot of pressure on you though, because you have to take your temperature every single morning before you move out of bed, and I've not got time for that. And also I think that would just get me too into trying to conceive, and it would then take away from me putting too much pressure on myself, so I don't do that one. There's also lubricants that you can try out as well. Have a little Google, have a little Amazon of those as well. But yeah, for me at the moment it's pretty basic, pretty straightforward, just because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, because that's when I get really low and I get really sad if it doesn't happen. Whereas now it's just pretty chill, you know, I'm doing 3 things, and you know, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and I do get upset, but I don't get as upset as I would do if I was doing every single thing that I should be doing and it still wasn't happening. Another thing that I would say though is definitely, you know, have a look at the NHS website, or, you know, any health website, and see what the guidelines are in your area. So I know that if you're over 35, I think it is, and you haven't fallen pregnant in 6 months, I think you can go to your GP. And if you're under 35, then it's over a year. So definitely reach out to your GP if you haven't done already and you are kind of within those categories. But for us at the moment, it's just trying, because I have had surgery and we do know that it might take a little bit longer. And you know, I think if it doesn't happen in the next couple of months, that's probably when I'm going to go back to my GP to see if there's anything else that they can do, if there's nothing else that they can do, because we have already got a child, so we're not really entitled to any fertility treatment on the NHS. We will probably go private, just to see what private can do. But fingers crossed, we won't need to do that and it will happen for us. But yeah, we will see. But that is pretty much everything. I will add the links to all of the products that I use in the description, and if anyone's got any questions or anything else that they want me to cover, please leave it down in the comments and I will be sure to answer you all. But yeah, that's everything from me. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you are trying to conceive, then I hope you get that positive test really soon. But yeah, thank you all so much. Please subscribe if you haven't done already and like the video, and I will speak to you all soon.